Soul Sessions. Soul Sessions Through the Eyes of Us is a safe space for the panel to discuss various local and global events and provide information on current topics that affect African Americans. Disclaimer: the opinions voiced on this program do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the AFCC, its staff, volunteers, board of directors, and underwriters.
Hi, I'm Marlo Hatchett, one of the peer mentors at the center.
And I'm Anastasia Joy Jordan Collins, and I'm the program manager at the center.
So today we're going to be talking about black hair textures. So when you think of hair texture, you probably think it's either straight or curly, but it's a little bit more complicated than that. Hair can be straight, wavy, curly, or coily. Straight hair is straight, pretty simple. Wavy hair has an S curl pattern that's very loose. Curly hair also has an S curl pattern, but it's tighter. It kind of looks like a corkscrew. Coily hair has curls that are so tight that they form coils.
Wavy hair is type 2 hair. Curly hair is type 3 hair. Coily hair is type 4 hair. This may make all those videos you've watched make more sense, but what about all those letters? Each type of hair has 3 categories. Wavy hair can be 2A, 2B, or 2C. Curly hair can be 3A, 3B, or 3C. And coily hair can be 4A, 4B, or 4C, like mine.
Look at your hair when it's wet, when it's in its most natural form, and when you can see your natural curl pattern. If you're not seeing enough curl definition, that could be a sign of dry hair. So maybe you should bust out that deep conditioner and or gel to see your natural curl pattern.
We all know what wavy, curly, and coily hair looks like, so your hair will definitely easily tell you what type of hair you have. Things start to get complicated when trying to figure out the category of our hair. Is it 3C or 4A? It can get confusing quickly, but in many cases, we'll have more than one hair texture in our hair. Some people have looser curls in the back of their head and tighter curls in the middle of their head. That's normal.
The purpose of knowing your hair texture isn't to stress about it, but to understand your hair so you can better take care of it. So don't get too caught up in the numbers. If you know whether your hair is wavy, or curly, or coily, you're doing amazing. Now next time you watch a video of a natural giving you the tea on how she takes care of her hair, you'll know what she means when she says type 4 hair. Now you may have heard the term hair porosity and wondered what it means. Essentially, hair porosity is about your hair's ability to absorb and retain moisture.
The porosity of your hair affects how well oils and moisture pass in and out of the outermost layer of your hair, known as the cuticle. Hair porosity is typically divided into 3 broad categories: low porosity, cuticles that are close together; medium porosity, cuticles that are less tightly bound; high porosity, cuticles that are more widely spaced. To understand the concept of hair porosity, it helps to know a bit more about the structure of your hair, which consists of 3 layers. These layers include
the cuticle. This is the tough, protective outer layer of your hair that's made up of smaller cuticles that overlap each other, similar to shingles on a roof. The cortex. This is the thickest layer of your hair. It contains fibrous proteins and the pigment that gives your hair its color. The medulla. This is the soft central part of your hair shaft. For your hair to stay healthy and hydrated, water, oils, and other moisturizing products need to be able to pass through the cuticle to get to the cortex. But if cuticles are too close together, it's not easy for water and oils to penetrate the hair. This can make it harder for your hair to get the moisture it needs.
Also, if the cuticles are too widely spaced, your hair will have a harder time retaining moisture and staying hydrated. How your hair absorbs and retains moisture is largely due to genetics. So, if low porosity hair runs in your family, there's a good chance you'll have low porosity hair too. But while genetics can affect porosity, it isn't the only contributing factor. Blow drying, bleaching, straightening, and overwashing and using harsh products can all damage your hair over time. This can cause your hair cuticles to become raised and open, which may make it harder for your hair to retain moisture. In addition to hair treatments, too much ultraviolet exposure can also increase the porosity of your hair. To protect the hair from the sun, wear a hat or some type of head covering when you're outdoors.
One of the easiest ways to test your hair porosity is by using a glass of water. Here's how to do it. Shampoo and rinse your hair to remove any product buildup. Fill a glass with water, and once your hair is clean and dry, drop a single strand of hair into the glass of water. Watch the strand to see if it sinks to the bottom of the glass or it floats at the top.
Low porosity. If the strand floats at the top before sinking, you'll likely have low porosity hair. Normal porosity. If the strand floats somewhere in the middle of the glass, you probably have medium or normal porosity hair. High porosity. If the strand quickly sinks to the bottom of the glass, you'll likely have high porosity hair. You can also test your porosity level by running a finger down a strand of your hair. Low porosity hair will feel smooth, whereas high porosity hair will feel rough and bumpy because the cuticles are open.
The characteristics of low porosity hair. With low porosity hair, the cuticles are tightly packed and very close together. This makes it harder for moisture to penetrate the hair shaft. You may have low porosity hair if hair products tend to sit on your hair and don't absorb easily. It's hard for water to saturate your hair when washing. It takes a long time for your hair to air dry.
The characteristics of medium porosity hair. With medium or normal porosity hair, the cuticles aren't too close together, but aren't too open either. This allows moisture to penetrate easily, and it also makes it easier to retain moisture for a longer period of time. You may have medium porosity hair if your hair is easy to style and can hold styles for a good length of time. Your hair takes color well. Your hair tends to look healthy, shiny, or glossy. It doesn't take too long for your hair to air dry. Hair heat damage and other chemical processes can cause normal hair porosity to change over time.
The characteristics of higher porosity hair. Whether due to genetics or hair damage, high porosity hair allows moisture to be absorbed into the hair shaft easily, yet it isn't able to retain moisture for long. This is because the cuticles tend to have gaps or spaces between them. You may have high porosity hair if water and other moisturizing products are quickly absorbed into your hair. Your hair tends to break easily. Your hair tends to be frizzy and dry. It doesn't take much time for your hair to air dry.
Can you change your hair porosity? If you have high or low hair porosity due to genetics, you may not be able to change it. However, according to hair care experts, there are things you can do to make your hair healthier, more manageable, and easier to style. For low porosity hair, use protein-free conditioners. These tend to be more easily absorbed into your hair and may be less likely to cause product buildup. Apply conditioner to hair that's already wet. Diluting the conditioner may make it easier to be absorbed into your hair. And look for ingredients with glycerin or honey in shampoos and conditioners. Avoid products with oils, as these tend to have a harder time penetrating the cuticle.
Apply heat when you condition your hair. Use a steamer, heat cap, or a hooded dryer. Or if you don't have those, put a shower cap over your hair once you've added a conditioner. For high porosity hair, look for ingredients like butters and oils in shampoos and conditioners. These products help your hair hold onto moisture. Use a heat protectant product on your hair. Apply this product before you blow dry or use other heat styling treatments. This can protect your hair from heat damage. Avoid hot water when shampooing and conditioning. Use lukewarm water instead.
The bottom line. Hair porosity may not be a term you'll hear often, but knowing what type of hair porosity you have can help you better understand how to manage, treat, and care for your hair. And that can lead to hairs that's stronger and healthier. What hair products should you use for your hair? For low porosity hair, you can use the following. Lotta Body Moisturize Me Curl and Style Hair Milk can be found at Sally's. Cream of Natural Oil Moisturizer can also be found at Sally's. Eden Body Works Curl Defining Cream can also be found at Sally's. And Shea Moisture Protein Free Leave-In Detangler that can be found at Target.
For high porosity hair, use the following. Kinky Curly Knot Today Leave-In Detangler from Target. Carol's Daughter Hair Milk Curl Defining Butter. I love Carol's Daughter, it's so good. And that's at Target. Miel Organics Rosemary Mint Scalp and Hair Strengthening Oil, Target or Amazon. And there's also this really good spray at Walmart, leave-in conditioner spray that's like this high porosity brand. So check that out at Walmart in the little multicultural hair section.
The small little multicultural hair section.
Yep. I'm still trying to kind of figure out mine. But I mean, this helped me a lot. I think I'm like 3C.
I'm like 4C. I'm 4C. But I don't know my porosity levels, but I'm definitely gonna stick a strand in a cup of water and figure it out.
Yeah, try that out
Yeah.
and let us know if you do in the comments or something.
LEAD stands for Leadership in Equity, Action, and Development. The goal of the LEAD program is to promote and protect a tobacco-free lifestyle for all of Butte and Yuba County residents. We believe passionately in advocating for health equity and environmental justice for low-income people and in communities of color.
LEAD's objectives. Resisting targeted price promotions. The tobacco industry spends billions of dollars annually on targeted advertising. Low-priced products and coupons contribute to high smoking rates among people of color and low-income communities, and make it easier for you to become addicted.
Developing upstream approaches to tobacco control by including tobacco control in general plans and other municipal codes, we protect communities from exposure to tobacco products and help to prevent poor health later in life. We believe limiting exposure to tobacco is an environmental justice issue.
Growing community advocate. We support and empower youth and young adults to fight back against the tobacco industry's targeting of marginalized people.
Menthol cigarettes could soon be prohibited in the United States if new tobacco product standards proposed by the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, are finalized and take effect.
Prohibiting menthol as a characterizing flavor in cigarettes is expected to make them less appealing, reducing diseases and deaths caused by cigarette smoking. Tobacco control researchers say this proposed change could have the greatest impact on youth and African American smokers who smoke menthol cigarettes at a far higher rate than other smokers.
The FDA also proposed a rule prohibiting all characterizing flavors such as grape and cotton candy, except tobacco flavoring in cigars to help curb their appeal.
The proposed rules, announced on April 28th, are open for public comment through August 2nd. This is a very large public health step, said Priscilla Callahan-Leon, MD, Senior Science Advisor in FDA's Center for Tobacco Products. If finalized, this rule will make the manufacturing and sale of menthol cigarettes illegal in the United States, combined with the continued efforts at prevention and cessation. These actions will have significant public health benefits.
The proposed rule aligns with the Biden administration's Cancer Moonshot goal for reducing deaths from cancer by at least 50% over the next 25 years. Dr. Callahan-Leon said, smoking is estimated to account for 30% of all cancer deaths in the United States.
This is one of the most important opportunities we've had tobacco control in a long time, said Michelle Block, MD, PhD, Chief of NCI's Tobacco Control Research Branch. We anticipate that once menthol cigarettes are prohibited, there will be fewer adolescents and young adults who initiate smoking and go on to become regular smokers, Dr. Block said. And we think a substantial portion of the African American smokers will take this opportunity to quit. The evidence against menthol. Tobacco manufacturers add menthol to cigarettes to provide users with a cooling sensation that masks the irritation and harshness of smoking. Menthol also interacts with nicotine in the brain to enhance the addictiveness of nicotine, making it harder for people to quit smoking, explained Rachel Grana Main, PhD, a program director in NCI's Tobacco Control Research Branch.
In the proposed rule, the FDA noted that in 2019, an estimated 18.5 million people in the United States aged 12 and older smoked menthol cigarettes, a disproportionate number of whom were youth, young adults, and African Americans. Menthol cigarettes are often the first cigarette that youth and young adults try, Dr. Grana Main said. Prohibiting these products will reduce smoking's appeal to youth and young adults and is expected to decrease the likelihood that they will continue to experiment with and use cigarettes.
The tobacco industry has aggressively targeted menthol cigarettes to the African American community for many decades, Dr. Callahan Lyons said. That has contributed to the heavy use of menthol cigarettes by African Americans who smoke, 85%, and why disease and death caused by menthol cigarettes falls heavily on this community, she explained. On one NCI-supported study, estimated that although 12% of the U.S. general population is African American, they make up 41% of premature deaths from menthol cigarettes between 1980 and 2018.
In 2009, as a part of the Family Smoking Prevention and Tobacco Control Act, Congress banned all flavored cigarettes except for menthol. However, Congress charged FDA's Tobacco Products Scientific Advisory Committee with reviewing the scientific evidence on the harms of menthol in cigarettes and making a recommendation to the FDA. In July 2011, the committee issued a report concluding that removing menthol cigarettes from the market would benefit public health in the United States.
Shortly after, FDA's Center for Tobacco Products conducted its own evaluation of the available science on the public health impact of menthol cigarettes. Their analysis concluded that menthol cigarettes are likely associated with numerous problems, including increasing the number of people who start smoking and progress to regular smoking, and a lower likelihood of quitting smoking, particularly among African Americans.
Since then, FDA has continued to evaluate menthol's effects on smoking, including initiation and cessation. We have come to the conclusion that we have enough science to support prohibiting menthol in cigarettes, said Dr. Callahan Lyons.
Research funded and conducted by NCI played an important role in building the evidence base for the proposed rules, Dr. Block said. Lessons from other countries. Evidence from menthol bans around the world informed FDA's proposed rule, Dr. Callahan Lyons said.
In 2016, for example, an expert group convened at the World Health Organization found that youth who regularly smoke menthol cigarettes had a harder time quitting than youth who smoke non-menthol cigarettes. The report recommended that countries ban the use of menthol and related flavorings in cigarettes and possibly all tobacco products. Many countries have done just that, said Dr. Block.
The preponderance of evidence from published studies indicates that a ban on menthol cigarettes would profoundly decrease smoking rates, said Jeffrey T. Fong, PhD of the University of Waterloo. One NCI-funded study, for example, showed that after Canadian health authorities banned menthol cigarettes, people who primarily smoked menthol cigarettes were more likely to quit smoking than non-menthol cigarette smokers. Extrapolating these findings to the United States, the researchers estimated that a U.S. prohibition on menthol cigarettes could lead to more than 1.3 million U.S. smokers quitting, with a large proportion of them being African American.
A similar study looking at outcomes of menthol cigarette ban in England found that the number of youth who smoke menthol cigarettes declined substantially after the ban took effect. A ban on menthol cigarettes in the United States would be a landmark policy that's likely to lead to tremendous public health benefits, including reductions in cancer, said Dr. Fong, who led the Canadian study. Anything we can do to get smokers to quit is going to lead to reductions in overall burden of number one preventable cause of cancer.
Beefing up prevention and cessation resources. Helping people quit smoking is the best way to ensure that these rules have maximum benefit for public health, Dr. Callahan Lyon said. So FDA is working with other federal partners to make sure the support is there for those who are trying to stop.
Other organizations, such as the African American Tobacco Control Leadership Council, also known as the AATCL, have led efforts across the United States to prohibit menthol and other flavored tobacco products. Valerie Yeager, MD of the University of California at San Francisco and an AATCL co-founder, said that for the ban to have the biggest impact, resources from the federal government need to be accompanied by efforts at the state, local, and community levels.
If you don't have boots on the ground at the community level, then you don't have anybody countering the persistent marketing by the tobacco industry, Dr. Yerger said. Dr. Yerger also noted the need for investments to address the underlying barriers that contributed to people smoking. How do we alleviate the inequities that are driving people to smoke, she asked.
Dr. Groneman agreed, noting that there is a window of opportunity to make sure smoking cessation programs are easily accessible with adequate resources and few barriers to their use. The reality is that communities that are at highest risk and most likely to be affected by prohibiting menthol cigarettes often have limited resources available to them, she continued. We need to ensure that the people can get help quitting smoking when they decide that they need it, and without any barriers at all.
NCI offers free evidence-based resources to help people quit smoking, Dr. Buck said. NCI smokefree.gov, for example, offers a suite of smoking cessation resources, such as text messaging programs that offer 24/7 support, and articles on how to handle the challenges of quitting smoking. No time to waste. FDA held public listening sessions in June to hear from affected communities after the public comment period for the proposed rules ends. The agency will review the comments and decide what, if any, changes should be made to the proposed rules, Dr. Callahan Lyon explained.
Based on the comments FDA receives, the agency may decide to end the rulemaking process, issue a new proposed rule or rules, or issue a final rule or rules. FDA is currently proposing that the final rule would become effective 1 year after it is published, she said.
In the meantime, it's important to continue focusing on prevention and cessation, Dr. Callahan Lyon noted. Most people who smoke regret ever starting, she said. They smoke because they're addicted. What we need to do is make it easier for them to quit. All right, and that was the lead portion of Soul Sessions. Now we're going to talk about the programs that we have here at the center and some events we have coming up.
We would like to remind you that the opinions voiced on this program do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the AAFCC, its staff, volunteers, board of directors, or underwriters.
Events. So we have the We Got Your Back School Supplies giveaway coming up. We will be giving out free backpacks, pencils, pens, notepads, and all kinds of school supplies, but the supplies are limited. There will also be a COVID-19 vaccine clinic available for everyone, as well as shaved ice for those who get vaccinated. And you must RSVP to reserve your backpack supplies. Just call us at 530-532-1205, and you are required to RSVP to receive school supplies. This project is sponsored by Orville Hospital and Vaccinate All 58.
Weekly programs. Soul Sessions Through the Eyes of Us every Tuesday from 5 to 6 p.m. A behavioral health counselor is at the center every third Tuesday of the month from 1 to 5, offering drop-in services and referrals.
We got Personal Peace Institute, a free program via Zoom that provides participants with the skills and strategies necessary for recognizing and controlling angry feelings. The Zoom meetings are every Wednesday. The youth group is from 5 to 6 p.m. and the adult group is from 6 to 7 p.m. And we have Dance to Verse, which is our hip hop and step dance class that allows participants to build relationships learn leadership skills, and boost confidence. Everyone age 7 and up is welcome to join. There is a beginner and advanced group. This class is every Friday from 2:30 to 5 p.m.
Make sure you are tuned in for our community radio station at KOYO 107.1 FM. You can also stream online at KOYO.FM. Check out our live show, History Right Now, sponsored by the LEAD Project, every Wednesday at 10 a.m. with Dalen Whitaker, the project coordinator. Please give us a call at 530-532-1205 if you are interested in signing up to participate, volunteer, or facilitate any events or programs.
Thank you for watching.
See you next week.